Hey guys, EST here, and I'm here to talk about home defense, but like prepper home defense. Not like, hey, let's harden your house, because I'd be probably the 10,000th person making a video on that. And there's people who know more about me, like contractors and security professionals. But you're in a place and something is happening. So a little bit above and beyond. So this isn't, oh, it's just the average Tuesday. I live in the suburbs and there's not really crime in my area. Doesn't mean it won't happen to you. Doesn't mean you shouldn't buy a full security system, or better yet, do it yourself. But what about like, hey, there's something going on in the city. There's something going on down the street. There's a protest with violent, delusional, brainwashed idiots. Tornado or hurricane just knocked out power. We got like a week out, or I don't even know how long it's out. What if somebody decided to go looting? What if? What if? So just some little thing where you're like, well, I'm still where I'm at, or I'm at my friend's house, or I'm at a temporary place, or I'm at a shelter, I'm at a, whatever. Now what? It's like 100 times, 1,000 times more likely that someone will break in right now because it's opportunistic, or there's already something kind of going on, some big civil thing. Well, there's a lot to this topic, so I thought, let's do another podcast episode from the world's least consistent podcast, the Emergency Survival Tips YouTube channel. Although I will have some stuff up on screen, though, to show what I'm talking about. And let me just dump on professional security systems. They're overpriced. It's just, they're selling you a product. Some of it works, some of it doesn't. It's monitoring. It's, we'll call the cops for you. It's flooding. It's fire. Cool, great. They do what they do. But it's not like house hardening. It's not like, well, somebody's breaking in right now. Now what do I do? It's really just like a overpriced product for dumb rich people, to oversimplify it. But then again, did I build my own camera system with a DVR just in case, so I could see who breaks in or what's going on, and a little bit external? Yeah, of course I did. But I work in IT and I specialize in custom computer systems, so like to me it was really easy. But there are some DIY guides, and there's some like off the shelf stuff you can buy, like Night Owl and stuff, that are like okay, like they're fine. But cameras don't stop somebody from kicking in your door. You'll have a really good picture of them doing it, but that doesn't really help you right now. What can you do when it's like, it's an elevated chance of somebody trying to come in? What can you do to prevent it, or to do something about it when they're already in, besides the obvious traditional stuff? And it wouldn't be the EST channel without also saying, and it's on an unbelievably low budget. Let's start with the patio door, because I checked. Out of the 6 or 7 or 8 places that I live, depending upon how far you go back, every single one of them has had a patio door. So a glass sliding door. So obviously everybody knows, custom fit-ish wooden dowel. Just, buy the thickest one you can go get at the hardware store for $5 to $10. Cut it as close as you can get to the shape and put it in there so nobody can open it. Surprisingly effective, but I think you can do a little bit better. Now, patio doors are a problem. Now, one of them was on the second floor, and it's not like people don't own ladders or, like, I don't know, grappling guns. I don't know what they're going to do. But that just seems unusual. If it's a home invader, but what if it's, like, an assassin? Like, I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. You don't know who's coming in. But think about that. Let's start with that. Who's coming in, why, what do they want to do, and how are they going to do it? Are they trying to be quiet, or are they trying to, who cares, I'm just here to raid the place? Or they're targeting you because you angered someone, or you're a sensitive target. Like you make highly political videos on YouTube. Well, then, they might be scared by an alarm. They might be deterred by, oh man, I can't kick this door. Run. Let's go to the next place. They're like, no, I'm here to attack this person. That's a whole different ballgame. Because if I'm a burglar, I'm probably not taking like a 3-pound dead blow hammer and going through your patio door, If I'm here to attack you specifically, I am. Then, like, I'm going to be crawling through glass, and glass is all over, cutting me up. Then I got to wear certain clothing, and, it's going to be loud, and I might meet resistance. Well, if I'm motivated and I'm angry, I don't care. That, like, get yourself in the mindset of the attacker and go, well, what category are we thinking? But most of this videos is going to be looters. Because if somebody wants to attack you, they're just going to break a window and throw an incendiary device in. They're not, unless they want to like kidnap you or send a message or threaten you, or like, I don't know. If they just want to like cause you some problems and they didn't feel like sabotaging your car because that's too technical, they're just going to burn your place down. So have good working fire alarms, So like targeted attacks, that's a rough one. That's a really, really rough one. The best thing you do with that is really just like get a high-end biological based wireless doorbell, as I like to call them, dogs. And you don't need a trained attack dog, because almost none of them will do that, and if you do have one, you better not get visitors that often. But an alarm dog is a dog that just naturally will bark when something happens, and that's most dogs, but not all. Like a Siberian Husky, they'll bark because a leaf blew by, but That's like more of a personal choice. Do you want a dog? Do you want a pet? Are you allergic? So for me, not going to happen, unfortunately. But contact break alarms, those are my favorite. I've covered them. So it's just, slap them on your door. Cool. Works great if you live alone. Doesn't work great if you have a family of 6 and some people can't reach it, Or you get some forgetful or groggy people coming in late at night or in the morning and they forget to turn it off. And then every 2 weeks, somebody lights it up. Not best for every living situation. But you can put these just on the door to just your bedroom. And then just the grand total of people inside your bedroom have to know, turn it off every single morning. And trust me, you only make that mistake once or twice because that is like seared in your memory. Those 125 decibel alarms are so loud that if you light it off 1 foot from your head because you opened the door and forgot it was there one time, it is so loud your nervous system stops working for a second. You'll be lucky if your legs still work, and then you see colors for a second. I don't know how that works, but I did it twice, and that is the amount of times that I did it. Then every single time I approach my door, I'm like, oh, that thing. Oh, yeah, that thing. Now, a lot of them have batteries that'll last for a while because it's like a closed circuit or open, I guess open circuit would be the term, but the batteries don't drain over time because there's not some capacitor, there's not like a slow leak or any of that, and then some of them do. So it's one more thing to maintain. It's some obnoxious, weird size battery that you got to go order online. And then they make the shim style ones, the metal, like 2 metal plates. Same thing, same alarm. You put them on your windowsill. You just kind of slip them in. And then if anybody opens your window, it'll go off. And then they make the same for like a window breaker. So it'll either like have a weight in it. And if it falls, it'll do it. Or if it's free falling, it'll do it. There's some that are sound based that aren't very accurate. So you could just go, okay, entryway, potential, window, door, sliding door. Okay, we got contact break alarms on all of them. Costs us about $20 to rig up the whole place. Maybe 40 if you want some good ones. Cool, but like they're annoying. People can see them and they're like, what's that? But it's not like, whoa, this guy's paranoid. It's like, oh, that's neat. I should get that. Like, how much does that cost? Wait a minute. So that's kind of reasonable. That's like daily. But if you want to just not mess with that, but then there's this a scenario going on where you're like, okay, maybe someone's going to break in. It went from a 0.0001% chance to 1,000 times higher, which is still low, but it's like, look what's going on. Like, look what I just heard about. Oh, there was 3 break-ins last week in my neighborhood, Or there's some kind of scheduled quote-unquote protest. Well, then you might want to just slap it on your door temporarily and just take it off when it's done, Tell everybody in the family about it. If you live alone, cool. You're probably going to light it up once on yourself. Just, be aware of that. But then, yeah, like I said, you could take it down later. You could just switch it off, too. Just switch it off and leave it off. Just install it permanently and then just don't turn it on. So I'm a big fan of those, but if we're talking about temporary measures where you just do it for like a week or something because something's going on, this right here, this is not only designed to stop the door from opening, though it's not very effective at that. You'd almost have to get it under the door ahead of time, and then the rubber grips aren't that good, and it's material dependent. But it's a little bit of a potential barrier that also has an alarm on it. So, how smart is that? These things are very highly reviewed online. Now, because it's just a simple little circuit, it's a little switch, you could just jump onto the switch, positive to positive, and then rig that up to another system, like an alarm somewhere else, and just do the wiring yourself. Or I've got a different idea that I'm going to circle back to later, because this is like wild. People don't think of this, and if you live in a place where you can't own anything for self-defense, that's going to be your solution, and this is going to be the switch that you buy for it. So this is just instant, like, we just set it down, there you go. And if you think people are going to forget about it, like some little tiny little white thing on the door, they probably won't miss this, especially if you put a big bright colored orange cone next to it, because that's not usually there. So, a big bright orange cone next to this thing, people are getting their shoes on and ready to go out the door, like, you ain't missing it. And this thing's like $20 or something like that. It was pretty cheap. And runs on a 9 volts, so just nice system. I think it's your typical Chinese brandless, or if it is branded, it's going to have 10 different brands. So just type in like doorstop alarm, I think is what I put in. So let's talk about this contraption. It folds, so it's supposed to like hang from your doorknob, which that's going to mar up your doorknob, but that's why it folds, is convenience. That's a weak point. Now, are you going to break this or kick past it with that kind of steel? Probably not. It's not the best construction I've ever seen in my life, but generally, if you get these at exactly the right angle and test them and make sure they don't slip, it works. Now, the funny thing is, it doesn't work on tile or wood floors because they're too slippery, unless they have like a really good high grip thing. So like if you have a dog and they have trouble walking on that surface without slipping, this isn't going to do it either. You would have to put down a spot of like skateboard grip tape, and then that's going to look really weird. I've seen people use those grippy jar openers too, but then, I don't know, they kind of have like some flex and they're like a rubber, so they kind of work. They work better than just this one, but then it's like contact on contact. It's like a shearing plane, and it doesn't work that well. But if you get this just right and you have exactly the right type of thing and some carpet, it usually doesn't slip, but the problem is it can slip. So I don't like this. This photo, there's so much wrong with it. You could just break the window, the glass. You can see it. Like there is just so much wrong with that photo. Oh, here's a thought that they don't mention very often. What direction does your outside door open? Does it open to the inside or to the outside? If you live in America, I bet I know the answer. But this is also a non-telescoping bar for your sliding doors. So everyone loves a good wooden dowel, and if you get one, don't just say, okay, it's 3 inches, but it'll stop somebody from opening it enough to get in. If it's got about, 1/2 to like 5-inch leeway, somebody who uses a tool to slip the lock on those absolutely dreadful sliding and patio doors of any kind, and they try to slide it open all stealthy, they can kind of jiggle it out of the way or bounce it a little bit out of the track. It's not the subtlest or quietest thing, but, But I don't like the telescoping ones where you twist them and they lock, with rubber and all that. Like, that's cool. I mean, wonderful. But try pushing as hard as you possibly can on them to see if it slips. Just saying. So I like this one because it is like cotter pins. Like that, you would need some serious strength and you'd probably break the door first to get through this. So I really like that. And plus, those are good for the actual purpose too. So if you got one and put it on your patio door, then maybe got like a 2-pack, 3-pack to save on shipping or something, and then put one on your door if you think something's going to happen, cool, but like test it first. So I kind of like it, but the door that swings to the inside in a typical double door, like outer door than screen door or glass door, is usually flimsy. So just kind of a dumb, unusual device, but it works really well for patio doors though. I don't know. There are better ones out there. There are better ways to block a traditional door. Like this, for example. Now, I'll just break it to you. This is terrible. It doesn't work. The one from Sabre, there's another one. I mean, just look at this. So it's little metal teeth that are like 1 millimeter. And there's like another piece of metal that's held in by a plastic body, maybe a metal frame, I'll be generous, and then like a little lever, and then that releases the teeth. But, well, you'd never bend the metal inside of it, right? And then there's ones that use like a pin. It's like a portable one, supposed to be for hotel doors. I mean, really, it's just a portable door lock, as they call it. And you might think, oh, it does something to like the lock, so it doesn't... No. It's, okay, you already defeated the lock. You already, picked the lock, whatever you did. But this one, like, hangs onto the socket and just prevents people from opening the door physically. But if you can slip it. So somebody, not even with a full-size kick, like running kick, big, dude, they just, not even with their shoulder, just with their arm, they just pushed, sheared it right off. Pin went flying on this one, slipped the teeth. Broke the assembly. This is security theater nonsense for morons. I've never seen one of these that work except for one model, and it was like solid nickel or something, and it was like this weird like latching system. It was kind of cool. Couldn't find the brand on it though, but they do exist, like these door blocker systems, so just look into like what the good ones are, but just be aware that like most of them are terrible. I just rewatched the video of the guy just going right past it. Just pop, gone. Might as well have been made out of plastic. Steel doesn't like perpendicular shearing force. Just FYI. I feel like if they made that out of 440 steel, which has the highest shearing weight that I'm aware of, I could probably still kick it. Perpendicular versus like static load or friction, like, you've already lost. Hey, while we're on the topic of doors, peephole blocker. This is a $4 to $11 solution. It just goes on with like foam tape. They give you like a little ring of adhesive and it covers the peephole. Now, why is that important? Because there are things called peephole reversers. Because you know how it's like a one-way lens? It's like looking down the wrong way of a microscope and it's all blurry and tiny or whatever. But then if you're looking outward, you can see. Yeah, they just make a lens that's the inverse, that it's like a universal peephole reverser. So then people can see inside your house, which then they could hook a camera up to it, or they could see if you're home, or they could see if you have a dog, make a little bit of noise, see if anybody, any creatures run up to the door. So to keep them from casing the joint, I would strongly recommend spending $4. Just make sure you measure though. It turns out I almost got the wrong one. My peephole is like, It's like 5/16 or something, and I thought, oh, it must be 12 millimeter. Well, let me go look. Let me measure it. No, it's like 14.5 millimeter on the inside, 16 on the outside, which is way bigger than the majority of the covers. So if you can't fit the ring around it, it won't function. So make sure you measure and get one that's big enough, or just buy a 5/16 one or a little bit bigger, because it doesn't really matter if it's too big. And then if you need to actually use the peephole, you just like rotate it or flip it up. Like it's, not hard. Now, the other thing is, if you don't have a peephole, you should probably get one. And then also, there's nothing stopping you from installing a wide-angle peephole just on your bedroom door. Like, if you hear a noise and you're like, well, I don't want them to know that I'm awake because then they might attack me, fire some shots, do something crazy, react all panic. You don't want that. Maybe it's somebody who's deranged and on drugs and they haven't found the bedroom door yet, or you don't think they could reasonably get through the lock, or there's a mountain lion in your living room. I don't know. Whatever it is, you need intel. You need information. So people always go, cameras. Yes, cameras. They work great as long as you can bring up the app and then plug in the code and then bro, peephole. So these screw together, these DIY kits, and they come with the drill bit. I mean, $10, come on. 200-degree viewing angle too. And you can get all kinds of colors, nickel finish, brass finish, fake gold, keep it real classy. And so somebody coming over might be like, well, why do you have a peephole on your bedroom door? That's why. And just say, well, if somebody breaks in or some bump in the night, I'd love to, come out in my boxers with a baseball bat. Or I could just gather intel first and then know if I should, grab the gun or call the police first or text the police or do something quiet, And there you go. But it looks a little weird. It's such an unusual, out of place thing that even when you explain it, people might be like, well, that makes sense, but oh, this guy's paranoid. Hey, speaking of baseball bats, people think, oh, that's like the 90s comedy and Hollywood cliche. Oh, the cute couple moves into their first place and they hear a bump in the night and here's the dad with a baseball bat. Mostly because Hollywood was really gun phobic, But that's always the cliche, and it's kind of ha funny. Dad's out in his boxers and his Hanes white t-shirt or his flannel pajamas with a baseball bat because he heard something downstairs. But think about it. It works. One blow to your calf, you're going to have a bad day. One blow to the front of your calf instead of your calf muscle, I should have said, you ain't walking. Your structure don't work anymore. Your scaffolding is not functioning. A blow to the head, that's it for you. And it's a reach weapon. You could also use it to keep people with a knife away from you. It's a distance weapon. You can kind of poke and swing and threaten and back up, They might say, oh, indoors you don't have room to swing. It's not that big. You're not holding a spear. You don't have to swing it around like a bow staff. I mean, even if I do a quarter swing, somebody's going to have a real bad day if I hit him in the neck or the ribs, let alone full force, in which case you're going to be lucky if the hospital, can fix that. So these are utterly lethal. I don't think even the most restrictive places, if somebody sees a baseball bat sitting under your bed, that they're going to be like, whoa, pump the brakes there, you crazy serial killer. You're not allowed to have any self-defense weapons in our country or our state or our city. If you're really afraid of that, put a little cylinder of 3 baseballs and a glove next to it, okay? Then they really can't say anything. But, I wouldn't go out to the sporting goods store, buy a really nice aluminum bat brand new when you're not going to quote unquote use it probably. You can get these. I mean, I'm talking Craigslist. I'm talking Facebook. I'm talking rummage sales, garage sales, or tag sales, depending upon where you live. I'm talking flea markets, bare minimum the used sporting goods store. I went there, got one. I'm like, under $20, cool, It was all dinged up and marred up and a lot of the printing was off of it. So, they marked it way down. The grips were a little worn, but still, wouldn't fly out of your hand. And I'm like, this is perfect. And the guy asked me, he's like, oh, so you're looking for a bat? I'm like, yeah. He's like, goes softball or hardball, fast pitch or slow pitch. I'm like, people, but I didn't want to say that. I didn't know how we'd react if you're like, we can't sell it to you, sir, if you intend to use it as a weapon. That'd be like, well, home defense. You'd be like, just buy a gun. And I just said fast pitch hardball. Okay, whatever, dude. A bat's a bat, man. I don't care. Just say, all they told me for the league was that it should be aluminum. Just have that in your head, because if you get blindsided by the salesman question and start going, I don't know, they're going to be like, what? Why is this guy panicking over a simple question about a bat? But he had me for a couple seconds there, I'm not going to lie. But even, paying above $10 for this back in the day, I'm like, that's still, could we go cheaper? And the answer is absolutely. Goodwill bins, if you've never been to them, it's like the overflow, you pay by the pound. There's a couple other places that do that. Amazon returns, I don't know. I don't know about that. But Rich people getting rid of sporting goods because their, kid got out of it or grew out of it, switched sports, or, oh, the grip's a little messed up, let's buy a brand new one. Rich people stuff. They just donate it. They don't care. They're not going to resell it. And one trip, not even kidding, I got 9 of them. Now, I didn't buy them. I came across 9 of them, and I started counting because I thought it was funny. So I had my choice. And these are some nice old school ones. Like, you wouldn't want to get hit by them. So if you're on like a budget, like, go there. And then you could probably find some stuff to flip on Facebook Marketplace too, by the way. Speakers, baby. Speakers. Very overlooked. And storage items. So what about pepper spray? What about contact, drive tasers or drive stun guns, whatever they call them? Pain compliance. Pepper spray is the better one, but you're going to have $1,000 cleaning bill. I'll just break it to you. I've never done this. I've just heard stories from like cops and from, people where this has happened. They're like, yeah, some crazy, meth head broke in, like kicked the door at my apartment or whatever, pepper sprayed him. He was outside in pain, got arrested. Cool. And then it was all over my carpet. And this is oleo resin. Okay. This ain't like something you can vacuum up. You need the shampooer. The shampooers are going to have to wear eye protection. You are going to be lucky if you can find someone to do it. And the whole time you won't be able to live there. It's not like it evaporates into the air necessarily. But anytime you touch the carpet, you won't be able to walk near it. What if it's on the walls and you gotta scrub the walls and you can't take the paint off? It's just, and now that I told you that, it's in the back of your head. So while I love having, as they say, something between a harsh word and a gun, like a shout, hey, get out of here, rar, I'm not gonna put up with your crap, and lethal, you want something in the middle, and people go, oh, well, pepper spray and tasers. Or stun guns. Well, even the most powerful stun gun flashlight, and yes, I have tested them on myself, that was a pleasant day, hitting me right in the arm, the bicep, or the chest, I could still take a swing at you in 1 second. And I wouldn't say special training. I mean, kickboxing, okay, cool. I'm not like some kind of trained, ninja who can take a kick to the balls and keep going. No, I'm going down if you kick me in the balls. So it's just like, whoa, that was unpleasant. And then 1 second after it stopped, I'm like, well, now I'm just angrier and I've got more adrenaline. You're just going to get hit harder. So they do nothing. You could daze someone if you get him right in the neck, like right in the spine. You're gonna have a bad day if that's where they get you. But that placement, when the first thing they do is go for like a big right hook or like an arm, like bear hug, like you're now detained, you're not gonna get him in the neck. I got a better idea. Baseball bat. Boom. Goodbye. I don't care if you're a 5 foot tall woman and the attacker's a 6 foot. Nobody wants to take a full force swing of a baseball bat. Now, if they know how to block it, cool. Or if they just think they could tank it because you really are like a child or something, or you're like elderly. Yeah, okay, so it's not for everyone, but man, baseball bat, that's it. Pepper spray works, but it's in a closed area. And then if you think it's going to go physical, don't necessarily reach for the pepper spray first. Now, that's kind of like a saying with the police, because they say, guess who's going to go home and take a really uncomfortable shower and burn all their clothes? It's like getting poison ivy on you. If you're going to go hands-on, do not pepper spray them first. It is going to get on you while you're trying to tackle them and cuff them, or while they're trying to tackle you. So just keep that in mind. But that's more of an after-the-fact thing. It's going to kick in for them quicker than you, and it's more of a distance thing, and it's like a hit them and get away. And, it still takes a couple seconds to kick in, though. What if they're wearing glasses and some people aren't very sensitive to it? About 10% of people. And then the cleanup. So it's like, I'd rather just go with, besides obviously a shotgun, which I have, but what if they don't have a knife in their hand? They're just crazy. They're just on drugs, or they're, whatever. If you don't see a weapon and you put some buckshot on them, you are in deep trouble. Because if it's an impaired person, a mentally ill person, a mentally diminished person of any type, or a kid doing a stupid TikTok prank, you are going to be in a lot of trouble. If somebody just accidentally walked into the wrong house or apartment because they're impaired and you shoot them, you are going to be in deep trouble. And I've heard actual preppers on YouTube say, that's why I keep a really sketchy looking long knife without my fingerprints on it in the drawer. Okay, good luck making that make sense, throwing that onto their body or in their pocket or in their hand or next to them. If all their buddies say, yeah, he was walking home from the bar. He wasn't like, hey guys, I'm drunk off my butt. I can't drive, so I'm going to walk home. They live one street over from you, and they said goodbye and took a video for Facebook as they walked away and said, I'm going to walk home drunk. And then they decided to randomly burglarize a house while having limited motor skills with a 12-inch knife that they had on them at the bar the whole time. Really? Don't try that stuff. It's not even worth the lawyer time, okay? If I'm shooting somebody, it's because they got lethal, and honestly, if it's somebody breaking in with lethal, they probably got a criminal history and I don't. I think that would be a little easier for me to defend. But you're still going to have to post bail and lawyer up if they charge you. So that's going to be a lot of sleepless nights. So don't mess with that. But that's why you need something between a harsh word and a gun. And that's why I like the baseball bat. Now, a truly deranged or truly motivated person, cool, but are they going to have the sense and the coordination to then kick a door or get through a door? You know, I'm just saying. And impaired people versus a normal person with a bat, you don't have to be an MLB player to basically, from their point of view, be Neo from the Matrix, where they're like, how are they this fast dodging all of my blows? Because you're drunk. You're delayed by like a second. But other than that, I mean, I've got a short barrel to the length that the law allows. It's a Maverick 88 with a pistol grip. Okay, yeah, you can put the shoulder back on for home defense. It's already an 18.5. Okay. But I think I got her down to like 24, 27, 27 and a half, whatever the legal limit is. It's like a quarter inch past that with the pistol grip. And I have low recoil 12 gauge. Oh, they're number 4 buckshot, which I think they're like the same width or a little bit smaller than a 9mm bullet. And then there's usually in full size, full recoil, I think there's like 27 of them. But in the shorties, there's like 15. And then they underload them. So there you go. Because I mean, I'm a big dude, but like one time that thing jumped out of my hands. I mean, we were shooting like Magnum slugs. So maybe that's not the best example. But I was holding that thing really, really, really tight because I thought it would jump up, and for some reason it decided to recoil straight back, and I took one right to the face. I was bleeding pretty good. I'm lucky it didn't break my nose or knock out a tooth. It got me right between. Just little split lip. And everybody at the gun range was like, haha, look at this idiot. And I'm like, okay, it was a 2.5 inch Magnum shell, all right? But I was holding that thing like it was going to kick me like a mule, and it still, I just thought it would go up instead of backwards because that's what the other shells did. And it's not even like a ported barrel or anything. I don't know, it was weird. But the moral of the story is you want low recoil. So that's just a little aside for like, what if it comes to that? This is more like the stuff that doesn't cost $200 and might be illegal where you live. So speaking of that, the ultimate, I saved this for last. This is amazing. Let me introduce you to these absolutely unholy, bright abominations of science that are for like industrial size garages, because I love this picture where they show the Bell and Howell Tri-Burst. Okay, that's what it is. I happen to know that one is pretty bright. Where, if you put it in a normal size 1-stall garage instead of, we're just working in the garage and like I can't really see because crappy little incandescent bulb, which... If that's you in 2025, like, can we at least spend $2 down at the hardware store? But if you put in one of these, anytime you're working out there, you're also going to have to put on some sunscreen. Like these things, my dad put one in their pretty large garage, and my mom hates it. My dad's like, yeah, I can see, cool. But that's before he got the cataract surgery. I suspect even now he thinks it's a little obnoxious, but you turn that thing on, it's like you teleported straight to a realm that is made out of pure light. You just teleported to like the all-white void from the Matrix, or from that episode of SpongeBob, shout out. Where my SpongeBob fans at? Leave a comment. Now imagine that in your entryway. Imagine that, instead of pointing down, pointing directly at the entrance to like the back or front of your house or your apartment. Now here's the problem. How do you trip it? How do you trigger it? You could put it on a motion sensor. You certainly could. Nothing's stopping you. Just strap it's like a motion sensing outlet switch, I believe is the actual formal term. It just turns on a device of some sort instead of just like a security light. So they just kind of separate it out. You can get good ones, you can get bad ones, sensitivity up or down, whatever, cool. But they tend to work. I have tested them. They work. And then you just mount this on like a fixture, a tripod, whatever. But it's like, you really want to drag this out and put it in like your entryway, your hallway, your, whatever, big honking tripod with a giant 1-foot tall array of 144 LEDs ready to just about light the intruder on fire every single night. But that's why this is the video of like convenience versus, well, now the threat went up, so I don't care about convenience. This is like okay, something's going down. Now you might think, but didn't you just say like power outage, tornado, hurricane, grid down? Weather event, potential looters, yes, but a motion sensor running on an inverter powered by a tiny battery pack, you're adding about $30, maybe $40 to it. This LED array is usually under 60 watts. I mean, the really, really crazy ones are upwards of like 1 to 200, but that's something you'd like put on a boat, which, I'm not saying, don't go get a boat light on eBay. Okay, I'm not saying that. There is quite literally Nothing stopping you from doing that. But you want it to be LED, not a sodium light or halogen or something. But yeah, ain't no law saying you can't get an LED fixture meant for like crab fishing boats and put it in your hallway. Just saying. So you could say, well, I just never used this one overhead light, and we're going to put it into a nice little fixture, install it. It's going to look gaudy as hell, but, and then if somebody breaks in, I'll flip the switch. Well, can you get to it? You'd have to customize the wiring. This switch goes here, but this one doesn't. Like, then you're looking at like electrical contracting is getting a little pricey. So I'd say just put it on a cheapo little tripod, put it on a lamp, a half broken upright lamp, like an adjustable one, do it with duct tape. I don't care. Whatever you got to do. You can build it out of plywood. We're talking about just like, I want to blind someone if they come in because I have reason to believe somebody's going to come in, But man, these things, now here's the thing. It is very simple electronics that I'm not going to go into in this video to take that foot switch, like the little, or not a foot switch, but like the doorstop switch. And if somebody opens the door, it completes the circuit on a second device, same switch, and boom. Now, I was thinking like a tiny little control board or like a secondary thing, like a tripper, like a one-way switch, or I think they call it like a REM line or whatever. I don't know if I've ever actually built one of those for anything other than a prank, but I know I didn't do it properly. So motion sensor, cool, but like you could literally just it's literally this switch. Now, is that an AC grade switch with a 9-volt battery on it with a DC circuit? Probably not, but you could test it. It's a big old foot switch with a big old chunk of copper or brass in there, okay? I think even if they didn't grade it to be AC, it would work, but you'll also probably light the battery circuit and the speaker on fire because it's the same circuit. So then it gets a little funny where you might like buy two, disconnect the speaker, disconnect the board, and then route the wires to your light instead. Or just get a contact break system where it's like an inverse, where as soon as the contact breaks between two things in your door, it direct wired, not wireless, no magnets, no nothing, goes to turn on the thing. Look up how to make like a contact break circuit. I think you can buy all-in-one switches that do that, or just little boxes. They're real cheap, real simple. Otherwise, there's like, if you want to do it really, custom PCBs from China, you can get that, just do that really, really, really simple, like $3 to $10 item. In fact, hardware stores probably have a pre-made thing. I just like to DIY so I know it works, but I don't think an off-the-shelf thing that's industrial grade is going to not work, But imagine this, if somebody comes in and all of a sudden they can't see. Or like you just decide, oh, there's someone here, I want to see them. And I want them to not see me. You will blind them for somewhere between like indefinite, because it is just above what the human eye can tolerate no matter what your pupils are doing, to like, oh, they are stunned for a good 5 seconds. Now, a professional trained assassin who's there to kill you, and they see a bright light, they'll just be like, oh, and cover for a second, and then probably just like kind of squint and then gun point in the direction of the light and send them. Anybody else is going to be like, I can't see what the heck is going on, stumble the way to the door and get the heck out, especially if there's also an alarm going off. So you can do a big chunk and crazy LED array in just a screw-in standard bulb. That's kind of the whole point of these. That's why I buy them. And you got that plus 110 decibels blaring. Yeah, they're going to be disabled for a little bit, just a couple seconds, which might be enough, or you'll scare them off, or you'll just completely, where they just can't even find the light. It went from the dead of night to welcome to staring directly at the sun. In a millisecond, some people just cannot get past that. And that's why people say, I live in so-and-so country over in wherever, and we're not allowed to have anything. So if I'm going for a walk at night, or I'm walking back from the park, or walking back from my job, or going to the bus, or going to the subway, I'm just carrying a normal everyday flashlight because it's dark. It happens to be one that's borderline nuclear powered, like those, what I'm talking about, those ones. The ones that only stay on for 30 seconds or you might overheat them, like that kind of flashlight. The ones that have built-in heat sinks. The ones where you need multiple 18650 batteries to power the LED array, that kind of flashlight. You could have that next to your bed, and then it doesn't matter where you are. You don't need a whole full tripod and wiring and all this other nonsense, but I've found that those are brighter. The handheld ones, you still have to aim it, and then you're still the operator, but then the only switch is you pressing one little button with your thumb, So those are a nice backup. Never, never, never discount just pointing that straight at someone. And then a lot of them have like an emergency blink mode where you can turn it into a strobe, and nobody's eyes are adjusting to a strobe. Okay, your pupils will get so confused they won't know what the heck to do. And if you're real lucky, maybe they'll have a seizure. Who knows? But yeah, you can see them. They can't see you. Their eyes are closed. They can't reopen them. is that even a fight? Like it's over. The conflict is over. And you can get like good name brand ones for a lot, but you can get some Chinese stuff where they just kind of rigged it up and they're still pretty sturdy and reliable because LED circuits aren't that complicated. Neither is an aluminum body for like $20. I mean, the ones I have are like, they're annoying, but you could probably look past them. They're very blinding, but not like ridiculous. And they're about $3 a piece. So you get up into the 20, 30, 40, you can get ones where they'll just show you like the full array and the full circuit. And assuming that's what you actually get, yeah, you've got a photon cannon. And I wanted to really cover the options and the effectiveness and the scenarios on this last one and cover it to death because people it's the number one thing in the last 10 years of talking to people about home defense. They never think using light as a weapon. They think alarms, sound, dogs, and brute force weapons and guns. And then I guess contact stunners and pepper spray. And they don't think, what if I just blind the holy crap out of them? And it's so simple and it's so cheap and it's so easy. It's just a little bit of a thing to drag out this big assembly of whatever. And if you left it out, people are going to be like, why do you have like a industrial grade warehouse light just sitting there as a permanent install? You could tell them, but like that's like, it's weird. You're going to be tripping over it and like, are you really going to set it up every night? And but that's why I said, what if you just had to enhance your security for like 1 or 2 days because of a thing going on? And then I would have this stuff sitting there in the wings, just have it on deck and ready to go. Couple more things from my notes. You can get anti-break-in, anti-shatter coatings, like a laminate that you can put on your window. It's totally invisible and it stops people from like throwing a brick through. Yeah, but it won't stop a person. There's somewhere between like, okay, it's glued to the frame, it's got all these layers, it's wrapped around, it's got like a Kevlar coating and like, well, in the frame and like all this craziness and like the world's strongest epoxy and all that, and it is meant to stop people from physically breaking through, or it's just bulletproof, or since those cost over $1,000 a window, you can just, put a coating on it. Cool. That's more like if it shatters, there won't be glass all over my carpet. That's about the usefulness. Otherwise, something that you just stick onto the window, even if it's like a permanent install with like glue and adhesive, it's not going to stop like somebody with a knife, somebody with a glass breaker, someone with a brick, someone just trying to punch through it and climb through it. It cannot stand up to the body weight of a human. They've been tested. They don't work. Now, what about just handheld sonic weapons? We'll just say like a bullhorn or like a personal alarm or something where, okay, you don't want to put it on like this door in this entryway, that you just want to like have it behind your bed, on your headboard or whatever, under your pillow, I don't know. Or if you break in, you want it to be so loud that the person either runs away or like so cripplingly loud that they cannot function. Like they cannot use their hands because it is so painful they have to put their fingers or their hands over their ears. And then your whole neighborhood's going to hear it, Everybody in the house is going to hear it. So not only is somebody breaking in, but like if there's a fire, you want a big loud alarm, which you already have smoke alarms that are probably 110, 120 decibels. So like, okay, cool. But what if you repurposed it as a handheld, like wake everybody up alarm, but also a sonic weapon? It's really hard to find them in China or from China, which is where they all come from, for a reasonable price. Like you could probably get a police, anti-something siren, little bullhorn or something. Okay, cool. For hundreds and hundreds of dollars. But if you get some handheld little, it just makes noise. It's just a battery and a single tone and a little circuit board and then a speaker. It's hard to find ones that don't lie about their decibel rating. So you might find one that's like annoying, but it's not painful. Now, painful, we're talking like 130 decibels. So you go on AliExpress right now, 155 decibel alarm, 200, 300 decibel alarm. A 300 decibel alarm would destroy your neighborhood. So if you want to go from 120 decibels to 130, instead of 10 watts, you need 100 watts. That's just like the universal rule of like PA systems. And competitive subwoofer competitions. Hey, guess what I used to do? So you could run down to the pawn shop, get a little JBL Eon little 150 or whatever, and then just have like an emergency thing where it's, I don't know, something where you wouldn't have to boot it up in time and hit play and like a welcome screen and a whole, just like something where you press it and it just generates a tone or something. You could just buy actually synthesizers and tone generators, feed it into that thing, and the amp goes straight to just the horn, and you go like 150 watts of just like ear-piercing 8,000 kilohertz. Oh, okay, you wouldn't hear that. 8 kilohertz, 8,000 hertz. Nobody would be able to be in the same room as that at full blast. And then you've got just a device rigged up. You can do a Raspberry Pi, once again, where all it does, or like a circuit board where all it does is feed in this down a 1/8 inch cable. It's actually a really simple circuit. So just take my word for it. There's different ways to do it, but you could rig that up and just be like, whoa. So now you got like a little $100 PA system used with really, really good quality that you can use for PA and for home theater. But then you've also got a home defense 100-watt sonic weapon. In my opinion, that's the best way to do it. But if you guys know of a brand or like a model or something, go buy the purple one, go buy the red one on AliExpress, because, Chinese people don't do brands. Like this handheld sonic weapon, I bought it and it is crippling. Or this brand of megaphone, let me know, because I never really got into sonic weapons, because the problem is you darn well better put some like gun grade earphones, which are faster to get on, or the like 36 decibel plus foam earplugs, and those take a little bit to get in, and then you can't hear anything. You probably hear gunshots, but if they're shouting or saying, oh, don't shoot, don't whatever, I'm police, I'm drunk, I'm in the wrong house, you ain't hearing any of that. But also they aren't hearing anything, but your neighbors are hearing it. So I still like sonic weapons. It's an interesting idea. If you mixed it with a light too and made a sonic and light weapon, that would be kind of fun. And then make it all handheld, run it off some 18650 lithium. Ooh, I've got a fun project for the future. But as soon as they plug their ears or just power through it, if they're really motivated to shoot you, they probably could. It's more of like a reaction where they're just like, oh my God, cover my ears, that's painful. And then they think for a second, okay, that was painful and abrupt and surprising, but can I uncover one ear for a second and then pull out a gun and shoot him? Yeah. For somebody to actually not be able to take their hands away from their ears for more than a second or two, you'd be looking at, I hate to even give a number, but 140 plus decibels would be my estimation. Maybe 150 depending upon their age and some other factors. So that's your guide to sonic weapons. So just to challenge myself, because I did a little brainstorming on my own because I specialize in this stuff, I asked AI several different ways, what are some overlooked budget items? And it came up with stuff I wouldn't recommend, stuff that isn't very good, and everything I already said in this video, except I think they were missing like 3. So it's, wow, good job AI. It did come with the door jamb reinforcement kits and the hinge bolt kits, so okay, cool. But then it recommended the Windows security film. That it doesn't work. AI doesn't know that because they go to the website, they take everything, it's very gullible, they take everything at face value from the person trying to sell it to you, and they fall for everything. They did mention you could get acrylic storm panels for your door, and that's supposed to stop a 2x4 from flying through it, so okay. But they're removable though, so it's like as soon as you get it out of the frame, it just comes out of one piece. So I think it's supposed to stop like something from flying at high speeds through your window and just like glass everywhere, it's like a glass grenade, but it won't actually stop a person from getting through it. It will just deter them slightly for a little bit. So even those I don't really recommend. And then the little, stick-on plastic that's really just like untinted tinting plastic, that ain't gonna stop anyone. They did recommend a laser or infrared beam tripwire. I guess I technically didn't mention those. It's the same technology that keeps your garage door from closing on your foot or whatever. Yeah, it's just an infrared laser, just a little beam. Beam gets interrupted, something happens. I like it. I just like contact break metal better because, I just don't, if I can't see it and it's wireless, I don't know, But a lot of security systems back in the 90s and still up to today, they don't rely on AI and motion and digital analysis and all this. Like a lot of them do, but some of them, like the good ones, still use infrared because it keeps an elevator door from closing on you. I mean, this stuff, it just works for permanent installs because they got to be perfect. If something walks past and dings it, there goes the alarm. But that could be the tripwire for the light. You could very easily get that. Infrared trip thing with like a little circuit. You just plug it into the wall. I've seen them. They're really cool. But they're bulky and look weird, and everybody coming over to your house is going to be like, what the heck is that? They did mention actual trip lines, like actual like fishing line. They said a fiber optic trip line. I don't even know what that is. Piezoacoustic glass break sensors, which work right up until you play a movie with glass breaking in them. Don't use those. Also, they tend to just not work in general. I believe I mentioned that, but in case I didn't. They said something about a strobe, and you might be thinking, wait, a motion-activated strobe, and it's almost not Halloween anymore. Wait a minute, I could get that on clearance. Some little toy one that's specifically not designed to blind people, that's just not quite going to do it. So if you're going to do a strobe, get like at least like a mobile DJ or like permanent install grade one with I just called them snap bulbs. I know that's not the actual name of them, but they're not LEDs because LEDs can't turn on and off fast enough. It's a filament bulb, so it's a very particular type. And they use like a timed capacitor. It's a very particular way to do it. But even those aren't designed to blind people. It's supposed to be like at a dance as an effect or like a theater thing. I mean, you might be able to find something if you just type the words in defensive strobe or something, but usually it's just some LED. It's not fast enough. It's not bright enough. But there is a device that it just reminded me of called a dazzler, which is usually used by police and military. The legality of it is questionable, depends where you live, but it is specifically laser-based. That's where the legal issues come in, and it's meant to blind someone. Quote-unquote temporarily, but it's a directed laser. I guess the theory is they'll close their eyes or turn away. So, okay, check on that one. I don't like the fact that you have to aim it. I'd rather just flood the entire area, but, energy usage. Motorized blinds that close based on a timer or based on sunlight. Or you could just stop being lazy and close your dang blinds at night. Okay. The high decibel alarms are usually called piezo sirens. That's Piezo because it's a piezoelectric device, I believe. I think so. I think that's like the type of noisemaker instead of like a piston-driven speaker. And they could only make high pitches, but they're dirt cheap. So there you go. But they're sometimes called perimeter alarms, so you can get those. But I like the contact break ones, magnetic or direct wire, or, the little shim style. And then they said directional targeted voice warning systems, but don't use LRADs. Well, the only one that exists is an LRAD, and it is extremely illegal, everywhere, for a civilian to use it, own it, or even try to buy it. So I don't even know what they're talking about there. It says a very targeted beam. Well, that's an LRAD. I don't think you could buy those over the counter necessarily. Maybe. Oh, a Faraday or RFID blocking material over a wireless door if you have a wireless lock, because somebody could hack it with like a dolphin or something. Okay. I'll give them that. I didn't think of that. Problem is the reader's on the outside of the door, so they could just lift up whatever you put on it. But okay. I mean, they're saying a jammer, which is illegal, and then also a jam detector in case somebody's trying to jam you. Well, what? But I mean, yeah, they could jam your wireless cameras. I guess that is a thing. You can buy them. Criminals have them. So a jam detector with an alarm wouldn't exactly be high up on my budget, but sure, why not? Tamper-evident tape and seals and tamper-evident little door things where they swing open and then somebody came in. That's great the next day, but okay, I guess it's worth mentioning. Oh, here's one that I have, hidden safe. It looks like a decorative American flag, but if you take a little ring that I put on top of it and hit it in a very certain star, it drops down and there's a shotgun in it. Kind of expensive, easier to DIY, but you might be able to modify an existing decoration to do it and just kind of mount it in there with foam. I'd rather have it accessible faster, but it's just like a thing where if we're having a discussion or a Facebook Marketplace meetup that ain't going so well, guess what? I mean, I probably already got one on my waist, but what if that jams? I don't know. So it's like stealth backup gun. It's more of a keep it away from the kids kind of thing, They did add, because it's AI, that they want to cover their butts, an important legal and safety notes section. I'm going to read most of this without making comments on it to comply with YouTube's terms of service. Do not use anything intended to blind, maim, or cause injury, like high-powered lasers, intentional flashbang devices, shock devices, now that's legal in most states, or, on fences, okay. LRADs used offensively. Well, it's also illegal to own one. Anyway, those can cause permanent harm and are often illegal. Strobes and ultrasonic devices can affect medical conditions like epilepsy and tinnitus, and you wouldn't want somebody breaking in your house to have that. It could also anger your pets, and you might have to add a warning sign to comply with local zoning and nuisance laws may apply. Oh, yeah, they'll come give you a noise citation after somebody breaks in and your alarm's a little bit too loud, I'm sure. Thanks for letting me know that, ChatGPT. Directional public address warnings are a good compromise. Sure. Okay, sure. Check your local laws about alarms and nuisance noise. Yeah, look, if it's going off all the time and it malfunctions, you got a perimeter detection system and what's the good ones? Millimeter wave and LiDAR, if you want the fancy boy stuff for outside your house. If it's going off all the time, they're going to give you a citation and your neighbor's going to be pissed. Okay, I don't need to tell you that. But they actually pointed out something that I think is pretty nice. They say practical layering, okay? Don't just install one system and think, well, now they're not getting in. Say, what if they get in? What if they get in this far? What if they get in this far and this? And the number one takeaway that I want to tell you at the end during this little lightning round here is castles versus dungeons. And this barely applies to the real world. It's more of a video game thing. So I'd say castles versus pyramids. if it were to apply more to the real world. A castle is like, look at all these walls, look at the gates, look at the moat, you're not coming in, but you can see all of it. You can see the walls, you can see the moat, you can see the drawbridge. It's just, how are you going to get in? How are you getting past these steel bars? How are you going to lower the drawbridge? And people had to bring like siege ladders, they had to bring like trebuchets and catapults and like, so they did it, but it's like one person was just like, oh, I'm going to break into this little security tower, like a miniature castle, just like a single watchtower, like a keep. Well, what are you going to do? Bring a chisel and just start trying, it's solid stone. What are you actually going to do? But it's all out in the open and people have infinite time to plan and look and surveil and gather intel, and it's all out in the open. Now, which one is more effective? You set up a thing and go, well, nobody's going to get in, and then there's no monitoring, there's no anything. It's just nobody's going to get in. It's perfect. It's a visual deterrent. They know they're not getting in, and so I'm perfectly safe. Or, oh, this place looks reasonably easy. It looks like every other house, every other place. I'm going to try to break in. And then a trap goes off. Well, now you're in trouble. Like back in the day, you're dead. You get all the Indiana Jones in the video game and the movie stuff where it's like, oh, now the chamber is flooding. Oh, you stepped on this one little thing and poison arrows come out. But like people did stuff like that. It's exaggerated. You can't just go full Indiana Jones on one little place, or like Skyrim if you've ever played that video game. But people have done stuff like that. Like you got the stuff they did in like the Brazil rainforest with the tribes, like where they had like arrow traps and deadfalls. And you had like the Vietnamese doing like the spike pits. And like if you want to protect an area, you put up 10 spike pits with leaves covering it and the little branches that a human will step right through and then they fall through, they're instantly dead. Or you put up a wall. Which one's more effective? When you can see the wall, you can see what materials it's made out of, you can fly over to bring a ladder. All the defense in the world, when it's out in the open, somebody's going to figure something out. You need systems, alarms, quote-unquote traps. Not like deadly spike fall traps in your living room, but like, like traps. Like, oh, it triggers a light, it triggers a sound, it triggers an alarm. You need traps because if they don't know they're there, surprise. If they drive past your house, they go, okay, that's a fence. We have to climb the fence or cut it. Okay, they have a dog, so we'd have to do something about that or go somewhere else. And then they have cameras, so we'd have to EMP it, spray paint it, paintball, find an approach vector, go from the backyard, whatever. They have a motion-activated light above the garage, so we have to go in the back. Okay, well, that's all their systems. Let's go break in. Those are all some good systems, but people can see them. You need much smaller, cheaper, easier systems if they are quote-unquote traps. If they're stealthy, they're unseen. And I would take that philosophy into any kind of building hardening or access of any kind. Like if you're out in the woods camping in a tent because society just ended and World War III just happened, and you don't want somebody stealing your backpack in the middle of the night or coming up and stabbing you in the face, taking all your food or whatever, tin cans on a fishing line. I mean, tripwires. Just bells, little jingly bells. That's going to do a lot better than if you built a 12-foot tall brick wall around your entire campsite. Not practical, but if you did it, they'll just climb over it. An alarm they didn't know about, a system they didn't know about, a trip line they didn't know about, something stealthy, something that catches them by surprise, because humans don't like surprises when their adrenaline's already absolutely pumping, because they're raiding a place and hopefully the person's still sleeping and hopefully they don't have, weapons and I don't get shot, but I'm starving and I need some food. The last thing they want is something jingling, making noise. They're out of, they're bolted, they are gone. And that's why stealth and traps are way better than out in the open defense. Like, look at how defensive this is. Haha, hard target. Look at me, look at me. It works to an extent, but stealth is so much better. So if there is anything I missed that you think, hey, this gadget, this thing, this quick little thing you can do besides, just board up your doors then. Go full The Purge. Ever seen those movies? Storm shutters on the inside of my windows. Like, okay, maybe. But like if there's something really simple that's not too over the top that I forgot, leave it down in the comment section. Otherwise, hey, thanks for watching this quick little episode of another like how to do security stuff podcast. We got like a couple other editions of this. I know a lot of people like the long form content instead of just here's a 7-minute video about a gadget. But I do both on this channel. We do a lot of educational stuff, a lot of, very little political and opinion stuff anymore. I mean, you know what's going on. I don't need to tell you who the enemies are and what's up. There's enough other people doing that. I'm just telling you what to do about it. So thanks for watching. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you next time.